It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NBA.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Time to catch you up to date on everything happening in the world of sports. And PK, it's pre-draft trade rumors now. The draft is Wednesday night.
Is it really?
And Yahoo Sports' Jake Fisher reports the Jazz could be preparing to make some significant moves this NBA offseason.
Well, you could prepare all you want, but are you going to do it? I don't care how much you're prepared to do it. I compare it how I'm concerned to are you going to do it. That's where it gets me. Will you do it? What will you do? It's not are you prepared to do it.
When I read this quote, I thought of you because you're like, this is breaking news. Quote, rival teams believe Utah is willing to engage in trade talks and part ways with second-year center Walker Kessler. Yeah, rival teams believe Utah is willing to engage. That's not make a trade. We're a little short of that.
If you trade Walker Kessler, it is akin to trading what Milwaukee did years ago with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Okay.
I mean, you better get significant value. I mean, Brian Winters just simply is not enough.
It's Vancouver Grizzlies coach Brian Winters to you. All right, well, they're almost ready to tiptoe to maybe, yes, they believe. But, hey, Jake's got to write something.
Everything is contingent upon return. Literally everything. Every player, every pick, which is what they've got, right? Players and picks. Everything should be on the table. Now, it's all relative to what the return is. If it's a better return than what you're giving out, then yes, you do it. Even if it comes down to Markkanen, Henrik, Sexton, wherever you think the top players are. Am I missing anybody? I guess Clarkson, you'd throw him in there. So, yeah, that's the way it should be. At this point, everything needs to be on the table. Kessler did not follow up the freshman year what we thought he was as a sophomore. It seemed like he was jerked around in the starting lineup. Not to say that that's bad. And his playing time was minimal. I'm not questioning whether it was the right thing to do. I'm just pointing out what was done. And so where do you go from there? Do you decide that this kid, we're still dealing with just a young pup who came out after 2 years because I think he went to Carolina and then Auburn, right? And so with that in mind, where do you go? And is he someone you feel you can build around with and the value just isn't there in the return? Then don't do it. If the value is better than what you're giving out, you believe, then do it. It's really a black and white thing.
Who are they getting back?
The premise is black and white. The particulars aren't, obviously.
There is still plenty of uncertainty surrounding the Detroit Pistons. Owner Tom Gores said that Trajan Langdon, he said, after assessing everything, I really felt the best choice for our organization was a fresh start. Our mistakes in the past had nothing to do with just one person. We needed a fresh start, and we needed Trajan to lead with a fresh start.
It's a fresh start, so you get rid of, what's-his-face?
Troy Weaver.
And Monty Williams, you paid him $65 million to go away. And that's a fresh start?
Yes.
I mean, those guys, they could be Red Auerbach and Jerry West, and how many more wins were they going to have?
I can't explain it to you. I mean, can you imagine just giving someone $65 million 1 year after you gave them the deal and say, here, go away? How much money do you have to think that's a good idea?
$0.
Light it on fire.
Yeah.
Go out in the middle of the street and start burning money.
So this is what I've been talking about for years, the rebuild to the rebuild. That's what just drives me nuts, man. 1 year into the rebuild, well, we got to have a fresh start. Just head-scratching.
Troy Weaver goes to the Wizards front office. So, on we go.
Yeah, good for him.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan, but if I was in that locker room and Aaron Rodgers wasn't there for 3 days on the mandatory minicamps,
having played 4 snaps last year.
Having played 4 snaps off of an injury when we have 2 new receivers, we got a bunch of new linemen that we added to the team with a CBA that doesn't allow us to practice a lot. I guarantee there's 4 or 5 guys, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys in that locker room sitting there like, where's he at? Now, if they start 4-0, no one's going to care.
That's right.
But this NFL, I think it's a bad look for your leader, for whatever reason, to go and miss an unexcused absence. I mean, I was with Tom Brady in his 25th year or 23rd year, and he started missing OTAs here and there, but he was still there, never missed a mandatory minicamp. And, you know, I just thought it was a bad look.
That's former Patriots wide receiver Julian Edelman on Aaron Rodgers missing mandatory camp. He's just saying what lots of people are saying, but he's Julian Edelman, so it seems to mean more.
It does?
Yes.
And if they start 4-0, no one's going to care. So what he says means more, but turns out it doesn't. What do you do with the record? That's all that matters.
And then when you get to the regular season, it doesn't matter because it's what you do in the playoffs.
Yeah,
maybe not in the case of the Jets, who have the longest playoff drought in the NFL.
That's what I was going to say. If they get to postseason, they got to consider it some level of success, particularly where they haven't had it. And I guarantee you, Robert Salah would be breathing a whole heck of a big sigh of relief
if they get to the playoffs.
And
they're not going to fire me.
Right, exactly.
Probably.
You'd have to consider that significant progress, and then you can argue, well, my gosh, if we would have had him last year, we would have made it.
Barry Sanders, Hall of Famer, legend, experiencing a heart-related health scare over the weekend. He said in a statement posted to social media, Sanders did not offer details on the exact nature of the condition, but described it as unexpected and a reminder of the importance of staying vigilant about our physical well-being, even when we're feeling fine. Legend also shared his gratitude for doctors, nurses, and healthcare professionals who treated him.
Cool. That means he's okay, I guess.
Yep. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Payoff to Lindor. Swung on, hit the opposite way, deep out towards left center. Haps on the run. He turns at the warning track, and it's gone. Just over the basket in left center field. A 2-run opposite field home run for Francisco Lindor. And the Mets finally cash in against Assad and the Cubs. It's 2-0.
Drive to left field. Hits way back. At the wall. Gone! Connor Wong! For the second straight game. He goes deep. A 2-run bomb, and the Red Sox lead it 2-0.
Gordon swings, high drive in the air, right field, doesn't have enough. Canzone's back. Look, and up she is, gone! A 3-run jack for Gordon, his 7th of the season. It's 4-0 Miami.
And the Marlins go on to win. They beat the Mariners 8-4. Nick Gordon's 3-run homer, the big shot. You heard Connor Wong with the 2-run homer. The Red Sox beat the Reds. And the Mets 5-2 over the Cubs thanks to Francisco Lindor. PK?
What?
Cheating in Major League Baseball is an issue again. The Mets closer Edwin Diaz facing a 10-game suspension, ejected from Sunday night's win over the Cubs for having an illegal substance on his pitching hand. Vic Carapazzo was the umpire. I touched his hand. I grabbed his hand. The substance was extremely sticky, discolored. It definitely wasn't rosin and sweat. We've checked thousands of these. I know what that feeling is. This was very sticky.
Yeah, and that kid from Toronto. Martinez, 80 games.
80 games for taking a fertility drug.
So he says. It seems to be a lot of the Dominican guys are doing this. If you look at the guys who have been caught, I don't know if Martinez is. But that's part of the thing there. But the good thing is they're being caught, I guess you could say.
Yeah, he was actually prescribed that, he says, this is his story, was that he was visiting a fertility clinic in his native Dominican Republic. And they prescribed the drug, and the doctor told him it was fine. He says, I made the mistake of not disclosing this to my team or the Players Association. With that said, I take full responsibility for my negligence and accept my suspension.
See you in September, I guess?
80 games. Yeah. But if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And in baseball, I read that he was the 8th guy suspended this year for performance-enhancing drugs. But he's fairly low profile, just up to the major leagues. He's a big prospect for him, I guess. But DJ and PK.
Hashtag RSL.
Gives it up, gets it back. 74th minute, scoreless game. Neal to Joveljic, run into the box, a shot, and a goal for the Galaxy! Good combination play, Peck with the goal, and the Galaxy have the lead in the 74th minute.
I mean, it was a long week of travel, going to Canada and then going to Kansas City. I think tonight we just weren't sharp with the ball, in particular in that final third. Felt like a game where the team that made a play more than likely get the result, and they made a play. But again, I think, and this is what I told the guys, is it wasn't from a lack of desire. It wasn't from lack of effort. Love the way they pushed the game to go for it and win the game. But again, I thought you saw a bit of fatigue. It just wasn't as crisp as it needed to be. And I think if we scored one of those half-chance goals, different game, different profile. It wasn't meant to be tonight.
There's Pablo Mastroeni after RSL loses. The 15-game unbeaten streak is over. They're shut out for the second time in the last 3 games. And PK, I think everything Pablo said is true, but the other thing is true is they need to add a player. They are not good enough as currently constructed to think that they should be hoisting the trophy. They've got several guys who can score goals, but a lot of them score with speed. The one guy who's really good when the defense drops deep and is compact and they're parking the bus is Chicho. He got hurt in the 15th minute, and he was hurt in the playoffs last year. They need another guy of that level. Other teams who have a legitimate shot at winning it all have multiple guys who are at that level, and I think RSL needs to get there as well. There's probably 5 or 6 teams that think they can win the championship.
Watching that game, it reminded me of Utah's second Rose Bowl. Once Rising went out, it was over. I mean, being in the stadium, you think, it's over.
Yeah.
And Kyle even said it. I remember specifically, we lost our mojo when Cam went down. And watching that, and I'm just watching it on the computer, it felt like they don't have a chance. Like, all the air went out. So thinking that, it's great to have a guy at the top, but you got to have more than one. I mean, because that's going to happen. At some point, literally everyone gets injured.
Yep.
And, you have to have the good luck that it's not at the most crucial time. Now, it wasn't at the most crucial time Saturday night. To win the game, it was. But going forward, we'll see what happens. But that made me think that, they need some help there, because it just seemed like the air was just sucked out of the stadium once he smacked his head, and when he get 20 stitches or whatever it was.
15 to 20 is what they told us. Yeah, they didn't give us exact numbers.
Yeah.
But there's a couple
that's
photos.
An injury.
The Tribune got a great photo of blood just streaming down his head a second and a half after the collision.
Right.
There was a lot of blood. And if they have their best 11, they could do it. But if that's your path to doing it, and you got half a season to go, it's just not realistic to think, we're going to have all these guys for all the big games. You have to have more.
I just hope now going forward, every Thursday, Pablo's is going to come out and say, we're not sure. We'll know later on today. It's just uno doctor.
Okay. The Ute parallels probably stop a little before that. Nice. But Pablo said the same thing. We didn't play that cut, but he has it by where, do you need to add a player? And he just leans in, yes. So we'll see if they're able to find that player and if that player wants to come and if they spend the big money and all that gets sorted out here in a few weeks. RSL off now next weekend. They get the bye, 29 teams in the league. Somebody's got to be off. And they played a bunch of games and did look gassed out there. So I suppose, back to the youth, the bye comes at the perfect time.
It do.
Yeah. The United States open play in the Copa America with the shutout of Bolivia. They got a couple goals in the first half, made them stand up. So they beat the worst team in South America, and now they're on to host Panama on Thursday. Second game in group play. DJ and PK.
#golf.
Little down breeze. This high into the air. This is going to have good distance. Land past the hole. Almost hit the flagstick. Now spin back. That's going to be about 10 feet above the hole to the left. I think that hitting that flagstick took the spin off it. May have got even closer as it is. Scotty will have a downhill look from birdie in the 10-foot range here. Putt goes back. Ball tracking down the slope out to the left. Doesn't turn right, but Scotty Scheffler is going to go ahead and tap this one and acknowledge Tom Kim. As Scheffler taps it in, Scotty Scheffler is the winner of the 2024 Travelers Championship.
Scotty Scheffler, win number 6, PK. And they had the distraction on the green. They had the demonstration, and 6 people get arrested, and Kim, 5 minutes standing over a birdie putt you have to make to get to a playoff. But he makes it, but then got in trouble in the sand in the first playoff hole, and he was done. So it's Scheffler again, 6. Man, can we start talking now about 8, 9, 10, and Tiger and VJ and challenging and passing those guys' numbers? He just keeps piling up the victories here in 2024.
I suppose we could. I don't see why you can't. That doesn't mean he's going to get them. But it's the Mickelson thing that he made the comment years ago of being in the hunt for majors. Eventually you're going to get it. And so this here obviously wasn't a major, but if he's in the hunt seemingly each week, then he's going to get his share. And right now his share is more than anybody else's share.
By a wide margin, right?
But yeah, the total share, but the opportunity to get it, I mean, he's not running away with it. Tony had a chance and then dropped one in the water for the double, went from 20 under to 18, and that was pretty much it for him.
He tied for 5th?
Yeah, and it was, I don't think he would have won anyway because he was 2 holes ahead. And those Kim and Scheffler probably would have taken care of it. Now, you never know. I can't say that for sure. I'm just guessing. But
the way the scoring went, those
right.
tend to be birdie holes. So
right.
you want to be ahead at the U.S. Open where there's bogey holes and guys are more likely to back up, get in the clubhouse, lock the number down, but it's different here.
Yeah.
DJ and PK.
#NHL.
The Edmonton Oilers lost 3 games, could not score a goal. Now the Edmonton Oilers have won 3 games, and they can't stop scoring goals. The Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7 tonight. Florida and Edmonton. Does Edmonton complete the comeback? Does Florida complete the collapse? First team since 1942 to overcome a 3-0 deficit and win the Stanley Cup. Can the Oilers do it? That's the storyline. That is the question of the morning, and we will get to that next. You will hold your red hot take, PK?
Oh, yeah, sure. 15 yards holding.
DJ PK, that is what is trending. There are the headlines. Coming up, the question of the day is on the way. Stay with us. DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. And what is trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. The question of the day is next.